So also just to remind you all that we have very interactive workshops. You are strongly encouraged to write your questions or your feedbacks in the chat. And when our speakers have time, they will look into the chat and they will be able to answer your questions real time. Cool. So yeah, Sana-san, Sawamura-san, feel free to go ahead and yeah, the stage is yours.
Great, Sasha, thank you very much. And thanks to Luwagon for the opportunity to for us to represent Zoom and sort of walk you through what we have as to the developer community with our Zoom developer platform. So let me go ahead and move the slide. So today's speaker is myself, Ken Sano, and Yosuke Sawamura. I'm the ISV Business Development Manager for Zoom, which means I cover more of the sales and business side of the developer platform that we're going to explain. And the technical side is covered by Yosuke, so he will be the primary speaker for today's session. Yosuke, do you want to say a few words?
Hi, everybody. My name is Yosuke Samura. I work for Zoom. I've been involved with Zoom for almost nearly 4 years now. I'm going to be introducing everybody the developer platform, what developer platform provides, APIs, and some example of how to embed APIs and SDKs. So, yeah.
Thank you. So with that, I'll just do a quick intro of Zoom itself and brief information about how sort of licensing works for what we're going to explain tonight. So Zoom, as you know, is a video conferencing meeting solution that's been used globally throughout the world. And as you can see here, we are highly sort of in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We're positioned as a leader for 6 times in a row. As many of you are aware, and we're using it tonight as well. We're fond of our quality of our video and audio, and it's known for the fact that it just works. And compared to other solutions, we have the best quality under stressful sort of network conditions as well, which is one of the reasons why many companies and consumer choose Zoom over other solutions. So Zoom is known for UCaaS brand, which is Unified Communications as a Service. And on top of that, we are putting a lot of resources into CPaaS, which is Communications Platform as a Service. And today we will explain to you on what you can do with our developer platform, which is CPaaS. And just real quick on the licensing piece for a developer platform, basically, without going into too much details here, it is available for free for you to internally test or for yourself to test. So we strongly encourage you to, sign up with our basic free license and try some of these things. Just to sort of explain briefly, for some use cases, you do need to pay us, and there's multiple ways for you to do this. There's the host license model where you pay us a monthly fee per host, and there's also a platform license, which is sort of pay for the minutes that you consume. So, and then there's the APIs and the SDKs, which Yosuke will explain to you in more detail. And towards the end, if we have time, we will explain a little bit about the video SDK, which is our sort of fully customizable SDK, which has a entire different licensing program. But long story short, the key message around licensing is that our APIs and SDKs are free for you to try out. Yosuke will explain how you can do that later. But if you do have any questions in the future about our licenses or fees, if you can take a quick note of this URL. I'll send it in the chat later as well, or this QR code if you use your smartphone to scan it. It will lead you to our what we call our contact sales form. And if you can type in your information there, our sales rep will reach out to you, or eventually it will typically come to myself for these types of questions, and we will respond. So feel free to do so. And with that, I will hand it over to Yosuke for today's main session. Over to you, Yosuke.
Thank you. Just give me 1 sec. I want to start my presentation.
Sure.
Is my presentation going through?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, so let me just, okay. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Yosuke Samura. I'm going to be introducing the Zoom's developer platform today. Just a quick overview of my background. I've been involved with the IT for a long time, almost around 20 years, mainly with real-time communication market, like the old, from the old video conferencing technology to nowadays cloud-based, and here I am with Zoom. Today, I would like to introduce our developer platform, actually what developer platform provides. Actually, it's the APIs and the SDKs, and I will go through how to get everybody starting writing codes, including those technologies. So today's agenda from my side is, first, I will explain what developer platform provides, and then step by step going through what APIs could do, what webhook can be leveraged for, and then going to the SDKs. We do have two types of SDKs. One is meeting SDK and the other is video SDK. I will be explaining that in the next slide, and then going through some example of how to code those SDKs in, as well. And then at the end, I will be going through some of the documentations in public that we have, so everybody could look into it after this workshop. So let's start from what Zoom's developer platform provides. I prepared one slide that explains really high level the architecture that we have. On the top, we do have the core part, Zoom backend. That's where all our core servers are in the clouds. It's all around the world. When anybody starts Zoom calls, it will end up going through our backend servers. On the other hand, we have the front end components, which is typically where we handle all the credentials and the direction of the call or type of calls, and collect all the information and gather that to open out to provide you, for example, like the reporting features, call details, reports, dashboards, and etc. So for regular users, we provide the web portal where we let the users sign in and see all the configurations for their accounts. And on the other hand, we provide Zoom clients. The clients are actually at the actual applications that are used to connect to the meetings. And that's where people see each other, talk to each other, and also type of the connections. Regularly, we provide meetings, so everybody could talk to each other. On the other hand, we do provide webinars type. And also we do have chat features or directories. And nowadays we started providing phones and Zoom apps and etc. Those are all included in our regular Zoom clients. So developer platform provides the core key features that we provide on those web portals and clients, which are, for example, Zoom APIs. Zoom APIs are basically methods that can be called from third-party components to our API servers directly without going through the web portal. So for example, I'm going to be doing some demos later on. For example, like if you want to see a list of users within your account, you could call an API and grab those lists. Or for example, if you want to see the call detail reports without going through the web portal, we also provide that API method. So your server, your platform could call directly to our API servers and grab all those details without going to the web portal. On the other hand, audio and video, the actual features that are used within our service, we packed it up as a client SDK. We call that meeting SDKs. And there, we pulled out the Zoom meeting features and webinar features into a package. So if you have an application, you could easily embed our Zoom meetings or webinar features into that, into your solution. So Zoom APIs and Meeting SDK are basically based on our regular Zoom service. On the other hand, we have another set of platform called Video SDK APIs and Video SDKs. We pulled out all the core features from the Meeting SDKs and then packed it up into another set of SDK package. We pulled out all the video and audio features, which is used to create the Meeting SDK into another set of package called the Video SDK. So Video SDK, when you start building a Video SDK platform using Video SDK solutions, you'll be able to use your own dedicated, unique meeting IDs, which is called session within Video SDK. You could use your own user ID handling mechanism, and you could have a drastic way of customizing the UI UX. On the other hand, Meeting SDK is based, like I said, based on the regular Zoom meeting components. We provide all the default sets of UIs within the meeting SDKs. So it's really simple to implement, embedded into your solution. On the other hand, if you want to do a really heavy, high-level, low-level customization on a real-time communication approach, then you could use Video SDK. These are the benefits that we provide. So we do, on the developer platform, mainly we provide these regular Zoom meeting-based platform and the Video SDK platform. So now we're going to start. I'm going to be starting to explain what APIs can do and what it could be actually used. The overall of the APIs, like I explained on the previous slide, it's basically Zoom APIs are based on our regular Zoom service platform. So most of the features that you could do on our web portal can be done on the API. So like getting the list of users, creating the users, reconfiguring the users' configurations, getting a list of data that could be collected within our dashboard. You could collect it using the API as well. I provide in this slide on the right side, I just wrote some really quick, easy example using JavaScript. You could use it within any platform that could handle HTTPS requests. So it could not just like JavaScript. You could use PHP. You could use other language, the pure Java. You could use it could be done on Android platform, iOS, whatever platform that can handle HTTPS. You'll be able to make a request towards our API servers. And also, we do provide a webhook and notifications. What webhook do is that when there's an event within your account, for example, if you make a call, if you start a meeting, that is treated as an event within Zoom. So if you configure webhook on our platform, you'll be able to receive a post event towards your third-party platform from Zoom saying that one of your users started a meeting, or ended a call, or joined a meeting, or joined a breakout room, or whatever features that we have, we do provide events. So these kind of server-side approach can be achieved with using the APIs and webhook. Now I'm going to stop the slide for a moment and show you some actual usage of an API. Let me stop it for a while. Is everybody seeing my desktop?
Yep, we can
Okay.
see desktop.
Okay. Before introducing the APIs, I would quickly show you how you get the information of the API, because APIs, you need to understand the method, or you need to understand what webhook can be configured. So I will start off before showing you the actual the actual executions. I prepared a demo account for this workshop. It's a enterprise account, so it has all the features. So I could use whatever feature sets provided on our documentations. Once you log in, you go to Advanced, at Market. This is where all the documentations are disclosed. On the right,
we're seeing a screen that it's not intended you're sharing, Yosuke.
Okay.
We were seeing VS Code and the Zoom screen on the right, probably a different monitor. Yep, I think this is the one you're intending to
Okay,
share.
let me just, sorry about that. It's really confusing when you have to do this kind of type of demo. Okay, let me go back to where I signed in. I prepared a demo account. And now I'm going to sign in. It's an enterprise account. It has all the features. If you go down to Advanced and at marketplace.zoom.us is where all the documentations are published in public. If you go to the right top pull down and then documentations, you'll find all the information that are disclosed. I'm going to show you a really simple way of playing with the APIs. So I'm going to go to API references. And there are a bunch of APIs that you could refer to. For this workshop, I'm going to be referring to the regular Zoom platform. So I'm going to go under Zoom API and API endpoints. And for a starter, I'll get the user information and compare it with the web portal that I've just shown. So I will going to demo a list users. So the API itself, you will need to make a request towards https colon//zoom.us. Although the subdomain will be API, so api.zoom.us will be your API server to access. And to access the API, you need to use a access token, which is on a JWT format. So before placing the actual API call, you'll need to generate your own access token. To generate the access token, there are several ways. So going back to the docs. And authorization. This is where we explain all several ways of getting the access token. If you're on a server side and want to do a server side API implementation, then there's going to be two ways. One is using the JWT app that we call, or the server-to-server OAuth. And since the JWT app it's going to be deprecated, the replacement will be the server-to-server OAuth. So if you're going to do a server-side API implementations, I will highly recommend starting with the server-to-server OAuth. So going into the server-to-server OAuth, there are several information that you need to understand. So it is at the end making a request to our OAuth server to grant you a access token. But to do so, you'll need to apply onto our marketplace, saying that you're going to be using server-to-server OAuth mechanism to generate an access token. To do so, we have a registry site where you could define that. And to do so, we're going back to the marketplace.zim.us, and there's a column called Build App. When you click the Build App, it'll show you several menus of what you could do within developer platform. We are going to be using server-to-server OAuth, so going under server-to-server OAuth and click Create. It'll ask you to put a name, so I'm going to be stating server-to-server workshop. Now, once you enter the name of this entry, it will provide you the account ID, client ID, and the client secret. All three values are is mandatory to generate the access token. Now we're just going to go continue and continue, and just keep it going until we end up at the scopes. Scope, this is where you state what type of API that you're going to be using. So if you're not going to be enabling one of these, you're not able to use what you would like to use. So in R, right now we're going to be just viewing the user informations and users. So we're going to just be reading it. So I'm going to be just checking view all user informations. And I'm going to just click done. And if you go at the end, it'll show you what you're missing. I'm going to go back. Just going to go short description, short. And playground. Oops, this is the email. And at the end, going back, now you'll be able to activate your app. So just click activate. Now the app, your entry is activated, so you'll be able to actually use the account IDs, client secret. Now, to actually generate the access token, there's a few ways. You could use whatever code that you want to use, but make sure you're using an HTTP over the HTTP request. It could be curl, it could be Node, it could be whatever language that you want to use. Just make sure you're using HTTP, and then you point into zoom.us OAuth. I will, to make it simple, I'll be just using a shell script to generate the access token. And basically, you'll need to encode the client ID and secret in base 64, and then put it as the authorization basic header and request it towards our OAuth. So before, whoops. To make it simple, I'm going to use a shell script. I'm going to be encoding the client ID and client secret and encode it as 64. And then I will going to be forwarding that to the HTTP request using curl. So I'm going to be making a post request towards the OAuth, zoom.us OAuth, and then making query with account type and credentials, and placing my account ID here. And lastly, to make it making the response look a little bit better, a little bit friendly, putting a Python JSON tool at the end and making a request. Okay, I have that client and client secret. This is weird. Let's check this. All right, so had it in a bad, had some miswriting in the code. So if everything goes well, it'll come back with the access token. Okay. Now we have the access token. I'm going to go back to the API list that we were following at the beginning. Users, list users. So the path will be users on our method, and our URL is going to be api.zoom.us. We're going to apply the access token onto the authorization barrier header. So at the end, your request will be looking like this. So the curl request, get user, API users, and then adding a header, authentications, and the token here that we just retried, and adding a little additional Python JSON tool. I'll be able to see the list of users. So as this response says, there's only one account, one user underneath the account. Let's compare that with our within the web portal, web portal user management. Underneath users, there's web portal will show the list of users. We got one, so there's one, and it also shows the details as well, which you can be you can see underneath the users list. So this is what basic concept of how you use the APIs. You could actually generate a meeting. For example, on our web portal, my account doesn't have any scheduled meeting yet. If you go to our documentation, whoops, isn't valid token. Yeah. Oh, okay. For this example, I tried to create a meetings, but I did not include the scopes for this access token. So if you want to create another method, which is not within the scope, then you'll have to go back and, for example, view and manage all users meetings. In this case, done and continue. And then you generate the token again. And create the meeting. Then now we have a token which includes meeting right admin level. So if you go to the meeting, you still don't have any meetings here. Create a meeting. You'll be now it generated a meeting ID. Going back here and reloading the page. Now we see a new meeting. So you could create a meeting through the API. You could also delete the meeting as well. There's a lot more that I could show you, but it's all within this API documentations. Also, we also provide the download spec, which is in the Swagger Open API format. So if you have a tool already, you could load that download spec into your tool and try it out as well. I've been using Crow because I thought it was more convenient to show you. Now going back to the marketplace, along with the APIs, we do provide a webhook event notifications. So I'm going to be showing you a little bit more about the webhook webhook as well. Now I'm going like the same as the server to server OAuth webhook is also if webhook entry is also needed. I'm going to state a simple name. Then I enter some mandatory items. Then continue. So webhook, like I explained on the slide, webhook is a HTTP request sent from our server to whatever endpoint that you will state. The event itself is selectable when you're applying the entry within the webhook. There is a column, event subscriptions. This is where you state which event you want to receive and which towards. So I'm going to click enable and point out where I want to send it. I'm going to use this server that I already have. And with the directory webhook, then add events. Just going to put some items that I want to send. This is and 29. Okay. Now I have an entry which will trigger a notification towards my server. Click save. Continue. Now it's activated. Now I'm gonna show you a server that I prepared. So I prepared a server which is running on port 4002 with the valid SSL certificates. So it could receive HTTPS requests. Zoom doesn't. Zoom will not send a request over non-encrypted servers. So your endpoints must have an HTTP connectivity with a valid domain with valid certificates. Otherwise, we will not send any notification. Every notification will fail. And since it's going to be a post request, I defined a post mechanism here to retrieve and log the headers and the bodies to see what's included. And I'm going to run this. So it's running on 442. And just to make sure if it's running. So it's receiving GET. This is the message I stated when a GET request is sent. So the server is running. Okay. Now to see the actual event that I defined within the features here, I will go ahead and start a meeting. So here is a client that is running on a different PC, logging in with the same account that I am that I showed prepared for this workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and start a meeting. Okay, now we'll see that the server that I just started is receiving a notification. The event notification here is stating that the meeting has started. This is because I just started a meeting. And then it includes some headers, which will be useful to identify which notification is meant for. Because this webhook entry, you could have multiple entries and divide your needs within the number of entries that you could apply for the webhook registrations. So in this case, I received meeting started. You could use this event to trigger a different logic. You could use this as to create your own call detail logging reports. You could trigger some other API method after receiving a webhook event. To make it a little bit more realistic, I will go ahead and add some more features. onto this web server. For example, there's also a recording feature that we provide within the Zoom platform. So I will be using this completed event to be notified when the recording is available, cloud recording is available, and then sending the play URL towards myself over the chat messaging. So what I'm going to be using is, let's go back to the API reference, going to the endpoints. Before that, let me just quickly show you the webhook notifications are. So if you go to events, okay, this is where oh no, this is not it. Here, Zoom APIs and events. This is where webhook details can be seen. So I'm going to be using recording completed, which recording completed includes is the URL for the to download the recordings and the play URL. Play URL. It's a URL to actually access our web portal and then play the recording files. So what I will need to do is that, let's go back to the server. Then we have the server running. So once we receive the post request, we want to determine whether that event is stating the recording completed. So what I will need to do is okay, after receiving the post event, I'll be stating to determine which event that recording is. So I'm going to be using switch, a typical way of defining it. Could be if, but I'll be using switch. And in the event body, if the event body is recording completed, I'll be writing a log for that. I'll be putting the write to log function after I explain this. And then the payload will include the host ID, play URL, the download URL, the token to access the download URL, and to create a URL using the token and download URL. These details are explained here. How to use the token and download URL. Just gonna go ahead and explain what these codes are. And the file name, I'll be stating the file name using the start time, and then the path to save the file, and then download it and save it to the download directory that I predefined. I'm going to be using, so, and then after listen, I'm going to be preparing the write to log. So I'm going to be running a log here. I love to always write to a file so I could reuse it after I'm done and making it a little bit more easier to implement using the database as well. Now I have the logs. I'm going to download it. Do have some download features here. I'm using this function, download. I'm using fs create write stream to save that stream into a file. And then lastly, we're going to be downloading it and using a send chat message API to send the URL to this user. To send a chat message to the user, we'll go back here. Sorry, API reference. Chat feature is defined on different columns. We have a set of dedicated documentation stating the chat APIs. To send a chat message from a server side, you will always need a chat channel. It's like a group chat channel. You will not able to send it directly since our chat architecture is based on P2P. There's always a user needed to send a direct messaging. On the other hand, chat channel is like a group chat, and the server side, an application or maybe a bot can send message to. So we'll be creating a chat channel and then sending a message towards that chat channel. So let me go back. Creating a chat channel there's several ways to do that. You could go to contact and click and create channel here, or you could create it over the API. It might be more easier to just create a chat channel over the API. So let me just do that. Back to manage. I don't have a scope to create a chat channel, so go ahead and add it. Yeah, manage users chat channel, and then like before, oops. Let's stop this server for a while. Use this access. Here, I'm going to create a chat. This is Kit. Sorry. Oops. Let me do that again. So here, I will be going to post a request towards our API server, and this unique UUID is my user's unique UUID. So the account that I have, sample01 playground zap.org, is also, when you register, and sign into our account, we provided a dedicated internal UUID tied to this email address. You'll be putting that here to know your account, your user's UID. Just simply hit the users list API, and then it'll provide the unique user ID. So we're going to be creating a chat channel for this users, and then applying the barrier access token. And then this time, you need to define who the owner for that chat channel is, and then the name and the type. Type is where you define whether that chat channel is private usage or public usage. We're going to be sending messages from server side. We'll be putting 3 here. Then the owner itself will be the sample server 1, since there's only 1 users in this account. And then hit enter. Chat channel right. I missed it. The error comes back saying that I don't have the scope, the rights. So I probably forgot to put chat channel right. So I'll be going back. Let's go chat. Good job. Do that. Chat channel. Chat channel. Let me try this again. I think I have I put the wrong access token. I have the right token. Try to use this again. Okay, I think I had wrong token. So now, if everything goes well, it comes back with the ID, which I'll be needing to send the API requests. And if you go back to the screen, you'll see there's a chat channel created with the name workshop demo. And you could also go to chat channel. Now we're ready to send the API request. I'll be adding the send chat message feature. Okay. Now, what I'm writing here is that when you send an API request, you need to you need a access token. I will be generating the access token, retrieving the access token before sending the actual chat messaging API. So I will be defining the environment here. Zoom account, client ID, client secret. Come back here. Be copying this ID. And going back here. Now we have the account ID, client ID, and secret. Gonna be getting the access token. So I will need to write another function to retrieve the access token. Downstairs, down, and add another token. So now we have a function requesting the access token. Here, I will be using a request module, which is provided under Node, and adding the account ID here and base encoding, base 64 encoding, and then replying back with the data, focusing on the access token. So making a request, if everything goes well, I'll come back with a information including the access token. It's formatted on JSON, so I'm going to phase it, retrieve only the access token, and put it back with a variable token. And then I'll be finally making a request, preparing to send a message towards our API's server. But before making the actual message, we need to define the chat channel that we just created over the API. The ID that was seen here will be needed to send the message where the message will be sent. So now we have all the details. We're going to pack the actual message and where to in a JSON format, and then making an API request stating on behalf of who, and then request party, and sending it to the server, so that the message will be seen underneath the workshop demo channel under the user. So I think everything is good. Okay. Now I think I am able to test this script. I'm going back to CLI. It's running without an error. Start a call. Okay. The hook message has been received. It's going to turn on the video without the microphone and record.
Recording in progress.
So the recording is started. Kind of wait for like a few seconds and just end the call. And the call. So the webhook is receiving meeting ended. Let's go see the portal. Go into recordings. Okay, it's still processing. Once it's done, it should be receiving a webhook notification. It's going to take for a minute or two since it's a very short recording. Going to wait for a while. Chat here. Okay, recording completed. Unfortunately, chat is not sending, but the download is completed. Not sure why the chat message did not make it through. The download was okay, good. So let's see what's inside here. So yeah, I'm seeing the downloaded file, but for some reasons sending message didn't work. I have to check what's going wrong. It should work. I do have an example on GitHub. It's a working example. But actually, combining APIs and APIs and webhook is done something like this. You'll be able to actually you can make an invite call to another Zoom logged in account user. So you could trigger the webhook to make a call towards another user within your account. Like I said, you could retrieve all the information from webhook and create your own reports. Or you could use the API just to configure multiple users within your account. So there's various ways of using and leveraging our API using our developer platform webhook. And so and all the informations that you need. I haven't explained, I really wasn't able to explain everything about the APIs and webhooks. It's all disclosed in our documentations for APIs, especially within the API references. Webhook, it's all under our documentations. Please go through our documentations before if you want to see more about and learn about what APIs and webhook can do. Please go through our documentations. Okay, that's about it for the APIs. Since we're really running out of time, I want to cover at least the meeting SDK. So I'm going to continue without going back to my presentation slide. Going back to, moving forward to the SDKs. Like I said, SDKs have two different types. We have the Zoom meeting based SDKs, which we call meeting SDKs, and the video SDKs. And meeting SDKs are almost ready built, which means all the GUIs and features that you actually use regularly within our Zoom, regular Zoom clients are already there, implemented, ready to use within the SDK packages. On the other hand, video SDK, you will need to code every step by steps how you want to leverage the technology itself. So it doesn't come with the UI. It doesn't have any of our rich mechanism. It's all up to you to design everything, including the icons, the layouts, and etc. So I will start off. I will try to explain the meeting SDKs, and especially the web versions, browser versions that we oftenly have requests from the field. So let's dive into the meeting SDKs for web. Okay. So the web versions, we do have a NMP modules that you could install within your infrastructure. On the other hand, we do provide a CDN versions, which is basically a URL, a link that you could just apply it within to any HTML. And the beauty of the meeting SDK for web is that you don't need to design the UI. So once you initialize and start the Zoom meeting SDK for web, it will create an element automatically and show the UI. Let me actually demonstrate that. But before, meeting SDK for web have two different sets of UIs. The regular Zoom meeting UIs, something like what you're seeing right now. On the other hand, we started to provide a widget version. So you can move it around and within your page. You can actually stabilize it, and as well, these UIs are already made, and it's up to you to pick which version, which type you want to use. So I prepared a blank server. Let me just close this. And since the web SDK itself, when you trigger a call, you'll need some kind of authentications. There we regularly you will be using email address and password, but we do not permit using the email or password within the SDKs. What you need to do is you need to generate a signature. Signature includes the user informations, what role the user will be, and using the SDK client secret provided within the marketplace. So if you would decide to use the meeting SDKs, the first thing you will need to do is go to our marketplace. And as within APIs and webhook, you'll need to start building it. So we'll be clicking build app and going to meeting SDKs. I have already created one, so I don't have the create button here. But if it's your first time, you'll be seeing create button. We go down inside it. You'll need to apply a minimum requirements. That's actually the short description and username and your email. And then the app credentials that you'll be needing. For the quick demo, I'll be just using the SDK key and secret, so it's more easier to. But you also be capable of using OAuth as well. I'm not covering it today, but if you're willing to have a user level implementations, you'll be able to use OAuth credentials. And within the web, you'll be using the server-side authentications using the API, but for the actual meeting usage, you'll be able to use OAuth as well. So going back to the server, I'll be trying to show you at least the client view implementations. So here I have a empty web server, which will run on 400, and it will run locally. So it doesn't have any HTTP as SSL implement, but it will still work and test it locally. If you're willing to open this out to the public, you'll at least need HTTPS SSL mechanism implemented. Otherwise, it will fail to use our core technologies that is needed to encode and decode the video, which is the item called the shared buffer array. You on Chrome, if you want to enable the share buffer array, a cross origin isolation is needed. So at this demo, I'll be just running it on local. So I'm stating just the cross origin isolated requirements. But please make sure if you're willing to put it on public, you'll need to also need an SSL configurations. And it's running on Express, and then it'll be using a state path. So any requests will be going to the public folder. This is where I'm going to be writing some in the index HTML. And so it's basically running a web. So on the server side, like I said, to actually join the meeting, you'll be needing a authentication, which is on our on our web version of the SDK. We call it signature. So I'll be applying a post request handling mechanism. And if this server gets a post request, it will automatically generate a the signature for this web SDK session. So here, I'll be using JSRSA sign module to at the end encrypt it using the JWT format. The key point is that you'll be needing the SDK key, and the meeting number that you define, and the role, and the actual date and time in seconds, and the expiry time. So for the current date, I'll be using math.for, a typical way of getting the seconds. The expiry time, I am putting 2 hours. It could be longer than 2 hours, but here I'm staying 2 hours. So now we're also ready to generate the signature. Going back to the client side. So like I said, this Express is using a static path. So that all the client side scripting will be done under the public folder. So at this moment, the public folder has an index HTML and a JS folder. JS folder is empty. Index is basically empty. So when you I will be starting by applying the modules that are needed just for the meeting SDK for web, which is first the CSS and the JavaScripts, which is provided over the CDN. Like I said, NPM modules are also provided, so it's up to you. This is a simple demo. If you're going to be using like a Webpack, the environment, you could use npm. But I'm trying to show a very simple way of starting off with version of the SDK, meaning SDK. So basically, this is it. Now you'll be needing a basic information to forward it to the modules. So I will be starting off with the display name and the meeting number and the password. Typical information that which are needed within the meeting SDKs. And then the role. So either a host or the attendee. And lastly, you'll need a join button. So now, how will I'm going to hit this join button? That's where the JS folder will kick in. We're going to be using client-side JavaScript. So I'll be stating index.j JavaScript file. File. Now, when the script is loaded, I want to make sure all of these modules are loaded before kicking anything. For example, like initializing the call or getting a signature, whatever. So I've stated event listener to listen to the DOM content loaded. And once it's loaded, I will state that as web SDK ready. So now I'm going to be writing the actual functions. So first of all, I need to define where that Zoom meeting SDK is within within the HTML elements. So, like I said, once these modules are loaded, it will automatically create an element called znmtg-root, and I'm defining it as Zoom Meeting SDK. And at the beginning, the styles I will style it as none, so it will not show anything. Then what you will need is the WebAssembly to be loaded. So we're gonna call the Zoom meeting and then call the preload WebAssembly. Once that is done, now I could finally define the join button. So the join button that I stated in an index file, the ID join meeting will be stated here. And once it's clicked, I'm going to write some functions which will generate the meeting, generate the signature, and then join the meeting, initialize, and then join the meeting. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to prevent default and grab the meeting ID and the role, and then start writing the call get signature method and grab the function. I'll go ahead and go something like this. So after clicking the join button, it will grab the meeting ID and the role I defined here. Actually, this meeting value here is the personal meeting ID for the user that I've created for this workshop. And the role can be defined before joining, clicking the join button. And then I'm going to get the signature. And then after getting the signature, I'll be preparing the SDK, initializing it, and then joining the meeting. Once it's joined, it will be capable of making a call. So all the functions within the Zoom meeting will be already built in. You won't need to be having any concerns about the UI UX. And lastly, the get signature, the feature. I'll be using the XML HTTP request for this demo, but it could be anything else. It just basically simple. Just getting the meeting number that's defined on the client side and the role, and then pouring that to the server. And then once grab the server, the server's once the post request reaches the server, I will grab the meeting number and the role. And I almost forgot this Zoom meeting SDK key. This is required, and the secret to encrypt it. So I'll be defining that here. The secret, the key and the secret is the one that you could retrieve from the marketplace meeting SDK entry. So now everything is all set. I think I'm ready to go this. Okay. Okay, now I have opened up my CLI, going to the same directory. Now the index to boot up the server. Okay, now the server is running. Here's my browser. Guys. Ooh. Okay. Localhost with the port 400. I'm running it on 400. Okay. Let's open up the console here. So it's loaded. Same thing. Everything seems to be well stated. Predefined the test users here. Display name predefined. And then I'm going to click in host and click in join. As within the default, it'll show a preview screen, but you could disable this previous screen here. Disable preview. Default is true. So default is false. I'm sorry. So it will show the screen. If you modify it true, it will go directly to the meeting. Okay. Okay, it works. So if I have another client, I'm going to use 02. And have 02. And also, if you have the share array buffer, you'll be able to use the gallery view as well. So this is, I believe this is pretty simple for everybody to play around with. There's also another component view that you could use within the web SDK, meaning SDK for web. I did not have time to cover that. Also with the video SDK as well. Let's stop my sharing and go back to the slides. Slide. Okay. Just let me explain the documentations. As my last explanations presentation, we do have. I've been going back and forth with the marketplace Zoom.us, but we also have a landing page called https://developers.zoom.us. That will lead you to the marketplace, the documentations I've been referring to, showing you, and also have some sites linked to our developer forum and developer support as well, and some useful documentations that you could go through. And I wanted to cover all the meeting SDKs and video SDKs as well, but the scenarios that I've been showing today, it's all packed up on our, it's all uploaded to the GitHub, ysarmara-zoom/workshop. It's all there, it's all completed, it will work. Partially it didn't work today, but the codes that's uploaded to the GitHub, they're all working scenarios. All you need to do is you need to go to the marketplace, grab the client IDs and secrets, and copy and paste it, and just run the node server, and it'll work. Other than that, we also do have a official Zoom samples on GitHub as well as within the marketplace. You could go to our marketplace SDK download column, and you'll be able to download the samples as well. But also on GitHub, github.com/Zoom, that's where it is. And other documentations I've been writing on Kita. It's Japanese, so people who are familiar with Japanese, it might be more easier to go to the Kita site that I've uploaded. And if you are going to or have a plan to go on an actual project, please keep in mind that we do have a dedicated developer platform support, Premier support that which we call. It comes with a SLA, and our engineer could support you over email, phone call, and actual Zoom call as well. So it's a paid support, but I think it's worth going through our priced support plans as well. And lastly, the API keys and secrets And also the SDK key and secrets, those are have to be treated with concerns. API keys and secrets, like I showed you, it has the administrator rights. So try not to expose that to the users. If you're embedding the API keys and secrets onto your platform, please make sure the keys and secrets are embedded within the server side and not the client side. And also with the SDKs, I've showed some demos today with using the mini SDKs for web. The keys and secrets, you could provide that to the client side and have the client side generate the signature without having this to make a request to the server side. But the user could use the meeting, easily become the host and do all sorts of things. So make sure it's treated well, treated on the server side and not exposed to the users. And also SDKs are available for all agreements, including free basic accounts up to enterprise level. But it's basically meant for personal usage, which means internal usage. If you're going to be using the SDK within that account, within your organization, then it's totally fine. But if you're providing that to a customer, or if you're providing a service that includes the SDK, please come up to us. We do have a dedicated contract. And also, if you're not sure and want to confirm that, please go to our related documentations that I stated here, the terms and the license TOU, and then please come up to us. We are sure that we could provide you a solution to that, and also might provide you a good offer as well.
Yep.
And lastly, I did not cover the marketplace submissions, which will need for users to authenticate using the OAuth mechanism, but we do have that implementation as well. If you're willing to do a OAuth implementation and want to disclose that into the public, you'll have we do have a window for the marketplace submissions. We do have the documentation as well. And also we have an ISP partner program for non-marketplace implementations. Yeah, that's about it from my side.
Great. Thank you so much, Yosuke. So with that, I think that wraps us our 9-minute session there. Sorry that we extended a little bit, and now that we're out of time, I guess we'll just sort of end the session there. But we will stay longer for any questions that you may have. But back to you, Sasha, for now.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for a very informative hands-on workshop. Yeah, just maybe a couple of minutes for the last questions. I saw that you already had some questions, some feedbacks during the workshop, but if you have any last feedbacks, last questions, yeah, feel free to write down in the chat. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Not sure if there was any particular questions per se. No, I don't see it. So again, all the documentations are there publicly available. We also have a GitHub repository maintained by Yosuke himself, so feel free to look into that. And I did also paste one webinar that we will have in October. Unfortunately, for some of you, it's in Japanese. But if you're available, please feel free to join a one-day sort of workshop that we have on October 13th in Japanese, covering the same topics plus some of the things that we didn't have time today, which is things like video SDK and component view for meeting SDK, I suppose. Yep.
And I'll probably do a little bit more of bits and bytes. So today I
Yep.
have to run Russian and try to finish as much as I can. But
this was more like everything sort of concentrated into 90 minutes. So hope everyone was able to follow. So Sasha, there's a request for a recording, obviously, because we went through everything so fast. So I guess it will be available on your website at some point, right?
Right. And for those of you who joined through a meetup, it will be also posted in our meetup channel. If you are a LevelGong graduate, it's going to be posted in our internal Slack. So don't worry about that. I also have a question to you guys. So you mentioned you have a workshop coming. Is there any like meetup group or some PTEX or something like that that people can check if they want to follow your workshops or your tutorials?
Right now we're really under-resourced, so we don't have such developer community just yet. We do start maintaining a developer forum, as Yosuke mentioned. So there is an online sort of place to ask questions and where we respond. But going forward, I'm sure, yes, we will start having more of those types of sessions, and would definitely love to introduce that to your audience as well.
Oh, all right. Then thank you. We'll take a note of the October workshop and share with those who might be interested. Thank you so much. Cool. And we also have GitHub from Sawamura-san. Thank you so much for that as well. We'll share it to our meetup and also to our internal Slack for the graduates who are joining today. Right. So with that, probably time to wrap up. One more time, thank you so much for both of you and those of you who attended and stayed until the end. I'm pretty sure that everyone enjoyed. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you again at our upcoming workshops, and have a great evening for all of you who are based in Japan and Asian time zone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.